Hey, I'm Desiree and welcome to my Inspired Human channel. In this video, I'm going to share with you a simple drawing technique that I began using a few years ago to help calm down my monkey mind and increase my concentration. So I call this technique surrender and flow, and I'm going to invite you to try this technique yourself. So in addition to the quieter monkey mind, this technique also helps with improving concentration. It helps to increase mindfulness and awareness, and it is a great tool to use against your negative inner critic. So first, I'm going to give you the materials that you will need. 2, I'm going to explain to you how this technique is done. 3, I'm going to explain to you the 3 specific guidelines that you must follow in order to do this technique correctly. 4, I'm going to give you a demonstration so you understand how this technique actually works. And 5, I'm going to give you some questions at the end for you to use when you've already created your art to do some self-inquiry work. And then finally, at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you some of my own personal art that I created using this technique when I was in a depressive state. And if that inspires you, make sure you check out my personal website, DesireeClemons.com, where I have all of my art there and my inspiration and even more videos. So be sure to check that out. So before you get doing this technique, you want to make sure that you have paper and something to write with. So you can use a pencil, you can use a pen, you can use gel pens, they work really well. Fine tipped markers are also really great. Colored pencils, crayons, whatever you feel inspired to do. And also make sure that you're in a comfortable space. So either a quiet space or even using music sometimes to kind of help bring up some emotions. That's also really great to use too. Okay, so once you've gathered all of your materials and you're in a comfortable state and you're ready to begin, you're going to take a deep breath in and surrender your mind and allow your hand to unconsciously flow. And what I mean by this is you're going to allow your hand to create what it wants to create without actively thinking about moving your hand left, right, up, or down. You're just going to allow your hand to move across the paper, creating any shapes, images, whatever it wants to create. And you're going to do this for 15 minutes. So if you're doing this technique and you noticed that your mind has taken over and it's now directing your hand, just allow it and notice it, and then quietly surrender your mind again and get back into the exercise and continue to do this for 15 minutes. So, what are the 3 guidelines? The 3 guidelines that you must follow, and I mean you must follow, in order to achieve the maximum results from this technique are: 1, you do not erase and you don't start over. If you make a mistake, you keep going. Number 2, you don't stop. You do this for at least 15 minutes. If you go over 15 minutes, great, that's fine, but you have to do this for at least 15 minutes. And number 3, you're going to be mindful of your thoughts. So whatever thoughts are coming up when you're doing this exercise, just be aware of them. Don't judge them, you just be aware of them. So if you use these 3 guidelines when doing this technique, you will notice almost immediately a decrease in your monkey mind. And this is important because when you're finished with your work, you're going to look at it, you're going to analyze it a little bit, and do a little bit of self-inquiry to see if there's any kind of deeper meaning behind what you just created. So before we analyze and do some self-inquiry, I'm going to show you a demonstration of how I do this technique and how you can do this technique as well. Okay, so I'm all set up here. I've got my notepad here on my easel, my fine tip markers, my gel pens, and my colored pencils. If you don't have any of these things at home, that's okay. You don't need them to do the technique. All you need is just a writing utensil and a piece of paper. Now before you begin to do the technique, make sure you keep in mind 3 rules. And that's no starting over because there's no mistakes and you don't erase. Second rule is to make sure you do this for at least 15 minutes. And the third is to watch your thoughts. You're not going to judge your thoughts, you're just going to monitor your thoughts whenever they come up as you're doing this, okay? Now I've already started here, and I'm going to continue on this and show you what I mean. So you're not going to consciously think about this. So it should look like just a page full of doodles or drawings. It shouldn't be perfect. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. The lines might not match up. That's okay. See here, like when I do a mistake, I don't like this. Like I want that to be one clean line. So because I don't erase, I just go over, I just make it darker. I make it darker until it's the shape and line that I want. And you want to take your time with this if you can, depending on your emotional state. If you're in a intense emotional state and you just need to draw, or you just feel like doing this, it might go a little bit faster. I preferably like to go a little bit slow. And you just kind of do this for 15 minutes. See, and then I'm just kind of going over what I drew before a little bit. I probably should be making new ones. So just let your mind go. And I'm nervous now, so my inner critic is telling me that this looks stupid, that it's dumb, it's not really anything. And I'm not ignoring it. I'm just going to listen to the inner critic and I guess thank it for its opinion. And then you just do this. Like you're just watching yourself unconsciously create art. Right? And you can tell that I'm really nervous because these are really dark and heavy lines. Okay? And you do this for 15 minutes. You can do it for longer, that's great. You can stop and, change the color if you want to. Just make sure there's not like a really, really long pause. What I like to do is I like to use one color for at least like 15 minutes, if not more, and then, switch and change another color. Okay, so when you're finished with your drawing, you're going to take it and look at it. We're going to analyze it and also do a little bit of self-inquiry. And what I mean by that is you're going to ask yourself some questions. So take your drawing, your art, and look at it. And notice the colors that you used. Notice your lines. Notice if there's any area in particular that you were a little bit heavy-handed. What areas were dark, what areas were light. Also think about what position and what area you started at. Is it to the left? Is it to the right? Is it up top? Is it on the bottom? Look at the colors. How many colors did you use? Is there a theme behind it? Do you see any pictures? Did you intentionally try to create pictures? Or did you just let your mind go and just let your hand create what it wanted to create? And just notice these things. And notice what you're feeling now. Did doing this exercise bring up any past hurtful memories? Did it bring up any anxiety? Did it bring up happiness? Was this really, really good technique and now you feel great that you were actually able to find something that is artistic and helpful in releasing emotions? And also think about the thoughts that came up when you were doing this exercise. Were you thinking that it was stupid? It was dumb? Did you not feel anything, so you thought that was a waste of time? How many times did your inner critic come up? How many times did you tell yourself that it was stupid, that it was dumb, it didn't look right, you're not using the right colors, it's not perfect? And just be mindful of that. You don't want to judge it, you just be mindful. And that's really all you have to do. That's all you have to do to get the benefits. So that's it. Now you know how to do my surrender and flow technique. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and comment down below what your experience was like doing this technique or what you even thought of this technique. If you're looking for more inspiration in art, be sure to check out my personal website. I'm constantly updating my blog and adding more content for more inspiration, and there you can also find some videos. So be sure to check that out. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, be inspired. Bye.